You can never have all the power.
What if I just keep that in?
Just start the podcast like that. That would be kind of funny. You have my permission.
Awesome.
Okay, oops, already goofing around. All right, start.
Welcome back to Beyond the Gate, our Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And we're talking about episode 31, the 520 Cens Promise.
Yes, and in this episode, even as his subordinates are scattered, Mustang finds he still has allies. Unfortunately, so do his enemies. The homunculi unleash one of the Fallen War's most notorious killers to deal with Scar and Marco.
Yeah, and this episode covers manga chapters 62, Beyond the Dream, and 63, The Promise Made for 520 Cens. I wrote down 530 by accident.
I
Sorry.
saw that. I was like, oh, is it?
No,
why
it
would
was
they
not
change
different.
that?
That was just me.
All right.
I can't count.
All right. Let's jump right into this episode. Because we kind of left on a cliffhanger. We saw in the end credits, we saw Marco's body, and it seems like he's been killed by Scar. That's where we start this episode. And Envy is very upset. He's like, shoot, we lost him. But then we see him like focus on this empty collar. And then that's the end of the scene.
Yes, one of the chimeras is mysteriously gone.
Mm-hmm. And then we see Ed leaving Riza's place. And it's, I don't just thought it's a cute exchange.
Not equivalent exchange, adorable exchange.
Yes. He asks her if she's all right. You know, she's going to be the Fuhrer's personal assistant. And she has a very good but also morbid attitude about it, because she's like, well, there's going to be more opportunity to kill the Fuhrer in his sleep.
And that's just like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Ed asks her to tell Roy that Scar is back, which, I don't know, I was kind of confused because I thought he already knew that because they like drew him out and Roy was there, but I don't know.
Well, after the confusion of them being gone for so long, it was hard to get a pinpoint on where he was, I suppose. So,
but I think it's only been a few days though, technically, right?
Honestly, I completely have lost track of the timeline.
I think it's only been a few days between like when they fought Scar and then they went to that abandoned house and they ended up in Gluttony's stomach. Like, that hasn't been that long. Maybe like 3 or 4 days? Yeah.
Oh, these kids need a nap.
Yeah. Anyway, then Ed is so sweet. He thanks her for everything, and then they part ways. And this is when Ed and Al, they meet up again, and Ed tells Al all that he learned about Ishval.
Yeah, and in the manga, Al had heard some of it already because he was talking to Dr. Knox about it.
And Ed is, I don't know, he's kind of disheartened because he says, you know, alchemists are ones who seek the truth, but they didn't, you know, ask or know about Ishval. And so he's kind of disappointed in himself.
Yeah. And Al doesn't say this out loud, but in the manga, he has some internal dialogue. And he thinks, I studied alchemy because I wanted to make Mom happy. So how did things end up like this? If Mom could see us now, she'd be really disappointed.
Oh,
yeah.
No, she wouldn't. She would love her boys.
Yes.
And then, I don't know, they turn to happier things. Ed asks Al what he wants to do when he gets his body back, and he says he wants to eat Winry's apple pie.
Yeah, and in the manga, Ed makes fun of him for it. He's like, that's a girl's dream. He's laughing, and Al's really mad, but Ed gets serious and says, I told you before that I can't wait to see your smiling face again, but I want to see everyone smiling.
Ed is the sweetest.
Doesn't know how to show it, but he is.
Yeah, and then what Ed wants to do is, the first thing he wants to do is tell Granny and their teacher that they got their bodies back, and he wants to see them smile, which is not as cute as it was in the manga, but still cute.
Yeah.
They kind of decide on their next move. Ed tells Al that no one was able to do alchemy during that, when they couldn't. except for May and Scar. And so they need to find May to see what's different about her alchemy. And then they find out, talking to Dr. Knox on the phone, that the little obnoxious girl has left. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny because Ed does like this like ridiculous, like Megan called it, a little gremlin walk. He's so mad that she left.
I can't take credit for that phrase though. I got it from I don't know what post, but the fandom of My Hero Academia calls Bakugo how he walks, like a little gremlin walk, because he does like that stomp stomp thing when he moves too. I really liked more funny things from the manga. So Ed is really mad. He wants to pull rank as a major and order a blitzkrieg on her. And says, "What's the use of having money and power if you don't use it?"
Amen. Right?
Money and power.
Yes. But then we go to Mustang's crew. Everybody's kind of parting ways, saying goodbye. Breda, we see Breda and Havoc. Breda got weight for Havoc, and he wants him to, get his strength back, and he tells him to hold down the fort. And then we see Fury saying goodbye to Black Hayate and also Fullman. And Fullman is going to say goodbye to Mustang and return his chess set. And then we see Hawkeye visiting Mustang. She's just grabbing stuff, but we know she's saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And she tells him about Scar. And their exchange is very sweet because she tells him not to get killed. And Roy is like, "Go ahead and shoot me." And she's like, I don't remember exactly what she says, but she says like, "Not yet. You're not bad enough yet."
Maybe something like annoying. You're not that annoying or something.
Yeah. And then when she leaves, she tells him not to slack off.
Me? Slack off? Never.
Yeah. And then kind of get a sad scene because Mustang is like staring at his empty office. All his people are gone. But then honestly, I think this is like one of my favorite scenes with him. He he gets out his chess set and he's like, they took my pawn, which is Fury, and they took my bishop, which is Fullman, and they took my rook, which is Breda, and they took my knight, which is Havoc. And he's like, finally, they took my queen, and it's Hawkeye. And I think the fandom was like,
yeah.
yes.
So
Like...
I link these to the playlists I make on our YouTube channel, but the guy I watch who does the reviews, like the watch throughs of these episodes, Cast Senpai, when he got to this episode, I remember him like looking at the chess set and like Royce starts with like the pawn, Fury, Bishop, Fullman stuff. He's like, "Is Riza gonna be his queen?" And he got to the queen. He's like, "Oh, of course."
Yep, it's amazing. And then we see that there is a message for him in the King piece, and so we know he may be knocked down, but it's not over yet. Then we go to Ed and Al. They are searching for May by searching for Xiaomei. They have drawn pictures of her. It's super funny because Al's is like super cute and Ed's just like looks like a monster.
Yeah, I think maybe in the anime, but for sure in the manga, Ed's showing the pictures like, "Have you seen the strange looking black and white cat?" And Al's like, "Don't pay attention to that picture. Look at this one. Don't pay attention to the alien over there."
And they can't find her. Mustang pulls up and they get in the car.
Get in, losers. We're going shopping. We're gonna drop that joke a lot.
I know. I'm sorry. Every time like anybody like pulls up in a car in the show, I want to say that.
We haven't even gotten to the best one.
Yeah, no, we haven't. And they tell Mustang that they know about Ishbal, and they're basically like just updating him on stuff. And Mustang like, "Well, you owe me money. I want my money back." And I don't know. It's kind of funny because he's not paying attention to the road and swerves, and Ed's like, "Eyes on the road." And of course, they're just bickering like those two.
Yeah, I know I'm harping on the manga a lot, but like I mean, in this one, Ed's just like digging in his pocket for spare change, but in the manga, he pulls out like this adorable little coin purse looking thing, and he just like opens it and fishes out some coins.
Cute. And it's like, oh, what do I owe you? 500 cents? And Roy is like, no, it's 520. Like,
Give it the program.
yeah. And Al, I think it's Al, tries to pay him back, but Ed like holds on to it, and he says that he will he will pay him back when Mustang becomes Fuhrer, but then he's gonna borrow more money and give it that back when Amestris is becomes a democracy, and so on and so forth. So he's pushing Mustang to fulfill his goals
through extortion.
Yes, exactly. You know what? Whatever works, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought this was sweet. Ed tells Mustang not to worry the lieutenant.
Yep. And also, another manga note, as he drives away, he screeches to a halt in his car and picks up a girl for a date.
Do Ed and Al see that?
Yep. Their reactions are pretty funny.
Okay. I need to catch up.
Yeah.
So Roy drops him off, and they get back to their hotel room, and we see that Fu is waiting for them. It's been a long time since we've seen him. And then we see Roy is visiting a bar that is filled with women, and you get the sense, I don't know, it may not be the best establishment, but he's visiting Madame Christmas, and he hands her a note. And then Madame Christmas calls Grumman. Again, I guess basically we get the sense that things are still on the move. Roy's not done yet. And then we get, I don't know, this scene kind of made me sad. Fu visits Lanfan. I think he has some mixed emotions. He's disappointed that Lanfan had lost her arm, and he like slaps her and like you're stupid. But also he's very sad about it, and we find out that she is actually his granddaughter.
Yes, we had said it before, but it actually technically wasn't confirmed until this moment when she said, "I'm sorry, grandfather." So
whoops.
I think people could kind of tell.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not that surprising.
Nah. It's just nice to know, though.
Yeah. And Ed and Al offer to introduce them to Winry, but Fu refuses.
Yeah, I think in the manga, it's kind of more explicitly stated that he just doesn't want to get the Rock Bells involved in all this going on. He doesn't want to pay back the Elric's kindness by putting their friends in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm. Fu and Lanfan, they thank Dr. Knox for all their help, and then he kicks them out. And they're leaving, and it's, I don't know, I like their new looks. Fu is in a suit, and Lanfan is in a dress as they leave, and Lanfan like looks back at the city, and she makes a promise. She says, "I promise to seek out the evil here. Remember us. We will return." And then we see Great Greenling. So they're not giving up either. They're gonna rescue their prince. And then we get, this is probably Megan's favorite scene in the episode. I don't know.
It is, yes.
The Dr. Knox's family. Well, we see Dr. Knox. He's remembering some horrible things that he's done, which I assume it looked like it involved research for the military, but then he's remembering himself taking care of Lanfan and May, and them being grateful for that. And then he hears a knock at the door, and it's his son and wife, and he tells them what he's been up to, and they're both, I don't know, they seem so proud of him. They're really happy that he's treating live patients. And his son tells him that he wants to be a doctor, and that he loves him and loves, that he cares for people. And he invites them in, and it's so sweet. He's like, he wants to enjoy time with his family, and he's crying, and the whole scene is very sweet.
Yes. Also, I want to put like a little call for help out there to anyone listening. Dr. Knox's son, his voice sounded so familiar in the dub, and for the life of me, I could not find out who his voice actor was, and it was driving me up the wall. So, if anyone knows, please tell me.
Yes, Megan spent. It'll haunt her. if she doesn't figure out to be on her deathbed and be like, who was he?
Uh, it just kind of bothered me that like he's not a named character, so I didn't expect it to be easy to find him. But I also thought
hmm
he has a decent amount of speaking lines. It's not like, additional voices where they just give one yell or one cry for help and that's all they do in the episode.
hmm
He had some pretty good lines, but
Yeah, and it
didn't
was
find him.
like super familiar.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Anyway, and then we go back to Kimberly, and he is currently in prison, and he's looking at the Philosopher's Stone, which apparently he still has, which I'm confused why he's in prison if he has his Philosopher's Stone, but
He killed
I don't
some
know.
fellow soldiers and
I
some officers, I think,
I
but
I
like
know that, but like
they
if
didn't
he's
confiscate the stone. I
yes,
don't
but
know.
like
I
why didn't he use
think
it to escape? That's like
he doesn't seem
that
like a
was
guy who does things willy-nilly. He has intentionality behind everything, so he's probably biding his time. And it's
yeah,
not like they could take the stone away from him because he swallows it each time, so people probably
yeah.
don't even know he still has it in him.
That's true. It's true. But anyway, yeah, he's always looking at the stone. He still has it while he's in prison. And he's remembering the end of the war. The military tries to take the stone back, but then he kills military officials. And that's how he ends up in prison. But while he's sitting there reminiscing of all about those good times, he's been released. They come and let him out. They give him this swanky white suit.
It is
Um,
very dapper.
yes, it is. And he doesn't know who has released him, but he's free. And then we get to see the kind of person that he is. He gives a parting gift to the warden, and it looks like it is a bomb strapped onto like a wristwatch, kind of thing. And everybody's freaking out. And then when the time is up, a little bird pops up. So he enjoys maybe some psychological torture.
Is it wrong I found that kind of funny? Like, it was horrible. It was very horrible. Like, I felt terrible for the warden, but at the same time, when the bird popped up, I was just kind of relieved and I was kind of, I don't know.
It
I was
was
tempted to laugh.
okay, me too, but like laugh in relief. Like,
Yeah.
oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, funny's not the right word. I don't know what the
Yeah.
right word is for that specific feeling.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't die.
Yeah. It's
But
also kind of scary though, because when the bird popped up and he's like, "Relax, Warden. I thought you could just give it to your kid as like a present." It's like, does he know for sure that the warden has a kid? And if so, how did he find that out? Does he have intel on the people he was with? Is that why he was biding his time in prison?
yes.
Anyway.
And then as he's leaving, we hear car honks his horn, and he gets his attention, and he gets in, and it's Envy.
Get in,
Um,
loser.
how many times can we say that?
I'm gonna
I
slip it in
feel
as
like
many as I can.
honestly we have been doing pretty good because there is definitely other episodes where we have wanted to say that and we haven't. But now you just said it twice
Yeah,
in
I'm
one
making up for lost
episode.
time.
All right, all right. And by the way, Megan has not seen that movie, so
Sorry. I just know the memes.
anyway, so Envy says he has a job for Kimberly. He wants Kimberly to track down Marco. They think that he is still alive because there was a chimera missing, as we mentioned earlier, and so they think Marco used that to make a body double that was killed. Kimberly is like, all right, I'm gonna do it. He's like, it's inexcusable to allow a survivor. And so he's going to track him down. And Enemy tells him that he can kill Scar, but he needs Marco alive. And then we see him like regurgitate the stone. And
That's
it's
a
like,
thing people
okay,
can do in real life, though, like swallow and
yeah,
regurgitate. It's kind of
that's
impressive if you watch America's Got Talent.
gross.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But then Envy gives him a second stone. So now he's got two. And this one was made from Marco's research assistants.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last scene in the episode, we finally see Marco and Scar confirm, Marco is actually still alive. And he's asking Scar, why are you keeping me alive? And Scar tells him that he kept him alive because he wants information about his tattoo, the tattoo on his arm, what it means and everything. And then we also see that Yoki is also there. And at the same time, May arrives. So we got this little group has formed. May is like super excited that Marco was the one who made a Philosopher's Stone. She's like, teach me. But he refuses, which obviously understandable. And Scar tells her, you shouldn't desire such things. It's immortality, Philosopher's Stone, bad. It's kind of, I don't know, it's
almost like a parental moment.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then after he says that, he grabs Marco's face and he he disfigures it to disguise
Might I
him.
say, the screams are very convincing in this part.
Yeah, it sounded quite painful. But then he tells May to heal him, so he's not totally cruel.
But only heal the surface level, so we have some disfigurement so no one can recognize Marco.
Yeah, yep. And then they are heading off to the north where Scar has hid his brother's research notes.
Yep.
And that's where the episode ends. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple voice actor notes. Unfortunately, not the one I wanted to cover, but the internet is fickle. But we've got General Grumman and Madam Christmas. So Grumman is voiced by Bill Flynn, who's Roy from Attack on Titan, Dr. Herschel Agasa in Detective Conan, and Grandpa Phillips in Barney. And we had to throw that one in there.
We're going to put as many Barney references as possible.
Yes, that was hilarious. Madam Christmas is played by Pam Doherty. She is Charlotte Linlin from One Piece. And she is additional voices in both Fairy Tail and Black Butler, and Tobira from Ping Pong the Animation. Anyway, and like name meanings. So, there's Christmas. That's kind of self-explanatory. But General Grumman, so I'm pulling this directly from the wiki fandom for Full Metal, but Grumman's name, like nearly all military personnel in the Full Metal Alchemist series, Grumman is named after a military vehicle, vessel, or weapon. In his case, the Grumman E-2 Hawkeye, a carrier-based tactical airborne early warning AEW aircraft used in the U.S. Navy.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we had one theory for this episode. So like when Ed was talking about borrowing money from Roy and like holding it against him until he, became Fuhrer or created a democracy, stuff like that, we were wondering what else is Ed planning to hold back money for? Like maybe making Roy propose to Riza, perhaps?
Yes, I hoped he would do that.
Yeah.
That's what personally, that's what I would do.
It's like, okay, now that the world is taken care of, you guys deserve some happiness. Just pop the ring. But someday the world is going to be, a little bit better. There's going to be a democracy. Roy's going to be in power and help make reforms. And Ed's just going to stroll up to Central and be like, hey, by the way, I've got some money from you still, but I'm not paying it back until, and he pulls out a ring from his back pocket, just tosses it to Roy's like, until you propose to Hawkeye.
Yep, that's what he should do. All right.
And for animation expertise, it wasn't really an animation note, more of like a character design note. There's a design difference that's not super important, but that I noticed. In the manga, to begin with, Kimberly's 2 strands of hair that, stick out in front in the anime are actually slicked back. It changes, they stick out front after more battles when his hair is more disheveled, but at first when he gets out of the prison, it's all smooth. And I thought that was interesting because right away in the anime, he's got the 2, kind of call them prongs of hair. And I thought from a design standpoint, in the way they frame his face, they kind of look predatory, almost like he's got pincers, fangs, or a forked tongue of a snake. And when I posed that idea, I was like, is that crazy? Is that weird?
No, it's not. Honestly, I always, when he like puts the Philosopher's Stone in his mouth and stuff. I don't know. I always like associate that with snake-like behavior.
Yeah.
So like I think it fits. I think it fits
He's
well.
got that ponytail in the back too. It's like the snake tail. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a snake.
he is a snake. He's such a snake.
Stop.
All right. And that is all we've got. Megan, what was your favorite line of the episode?
Mine came from my favorite scene, and it's from Dr. Knox when he said, I don't know if you actually exist or not, God, but cut me some slack. Even a guy like me needs a break. Just please let me enjoy the happiness of having a cup of coffee with my family. That one kind of broke me the first time we watched it. It was another one of those things where I remember, like, the place I was at when we were watching that one. And it was an episode that I was just chilling and watching with you. And then that line popped up and I felt my chest kind of get tight.
It is very sweet.
Yeah. What was your favorite part?
I feel like we always do that. Like one person picks serious and one person picks not so serious. But mine came from Kimberly, and I liked when he said, "My first day out of jail, and I already have a job."
What a
I don't know
mood.
why that tickled me, but it did.
It is
I
funny.
enjoyed it. All right, what was the moral of the episode, or what did we learn?
Use money to bribe people to keep their promises.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. The real moral of the episode is seek out allies.
Yeah, I think in this episode, like, I don't know, everybody's got Mustang's back, and they're all like pushing him to keep moving forward and not to give up, even if Ed is doing it in a he's not serious, but he kind of is.
But I think
like
people show support in different ways, and all of the ways kind of add up to something very special to really give a person the encouragement they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then who pushed the story forward in this episode?
Ed for spurring Mustang on, and Mustang for starting to take his first steps.
Yes.
And that's that.
Yep. Pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Another one of those, the big battle's done. Here's, what's happening next, I
Getting
guess.
pieces into play for the next round.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, we will be back next week with another episode.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.